Cherfilus-McCormick has just resigned from Congress. Last month, a subcommittee found the Florida lawmaker guilty of violating several campaign finance laws and regulations. She's also
absolute chaos on the Hill. A sitting congresswoman just vanished from office minutes before her own expulsion vote. She didn't wait to be kicked out. She ran for the exit. You need to see the real reason she's bailing.
Well, it's an unjust indictment, and it seems like these intimidation tactics have been pervasive. We spent all week seeing different members getting censured, all in hopes of intimidating and kind of distracting from the Epstein files. And I look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking my...
Look at the confidence in that clip. She's calling it an unjust indictment and leaning heavy into the idea that this is all a targeted distraction from the Epstein files. It's a classic strategy. When the heat gets too high, pivot to the most controversial topic you can find to cloud the water. Notice the body language here. She's acting like a martyr for her district, framing a criminal investigation as a racial intimidation tactic. It's a wild contrast when you realize what the actual charges are. She's talking about fighting for her people while the ethics committee is looking at millions of dollars missing from emergency funds. It's rare to see someone double down this hard on camera right before the floor falls out from under them. Most people would go quiet, but she went on the offensive, trying to flip the script on the entire institution of Congress. It's a masterclass in political deflection, even if it didn't save her seat in the end.
He was accused of stealing her and others $5 million from FEMA, and then the evidence poured out that it was quite credible. The ethics committee went through what it had to go through its investigation and was about to issue a report stating that all of this, as far as they were concerned, was factual. So we were going to expel her later today or tomorrow, as soon as we got around to it. So she decided.
Here is where the math starts to get ugly. $5 million from FEMA. Think about that for a second. That's emergency money meant for disaster relief, redirected into personal use and campaign coffers. The sheer scale of this is what's blowing people's minds. It wasn't just a clerical error or a small campaign finance slip-up. It was a systematic siphoning of federal funds. The most interesting part of this clip is the mention of the Democrat leadership. They reportedly knew the ethics report was coming and just sat on their hands waiting for the buzzer-beater resignation rather than cleaning house themselves. It's that disgrace the anchor mentions that really sticks. Imagine being so deep in the pocket that you think a FEMA fund is your personal piggy bank. You can see the frustration on the faces of the reporting crew. This isn't just politics as usual. It's a direct hit on a program people actually rely on during their worst moments.
We've been pushed into the positions where two wrongs will make a right, and it's, as Democrats, we simply can't come to a boxing match when the other person brings a knife. We're just not going to be able to survive that. And so that's the position we've been forced into.
We vote yes so we can keep the balance of power because of what Texas is doing. They're redistricting so they can have more pro-Trump seats. And
this might be the most honest yet terrifying interview I've seen all year. This voter just looked a camera in the eye and said, "Two wrongs make a right." She's literally admitting that gerrymandering is wrong, but because the other side did it, they have to bring a knife to the boxing match. This is how the fairness argument completely breaks down. It's no longer about what's legal or ethical, it's about survival at any cost. You can hear the exhaustion in her voice, but also a weird sense of justification. It's a glimpse into the mindset that's fueling the redistricting wars across the country. They aren't even pretending it's about representing the people anymore. It's purely about holding the balance of power. If you ever wondered why these maps look like abstract art, this is your answer. People feel forced into a corner where they think cheating is the only way to stay in the game. It's a dark turn for local democracy when the voters themselves start championing the tactics they used to hate.
Look at how this map is structured. What they do is they've taken the heavily Democratic areas in the northern area of Virginia, and they've created 5 separate districts that basically pinwheel out to go out into conservative, more rural areas, including where we are right now in the proposed 7th congressional district. It's actually interesting. We're kind of like smack dab in the middle of the district, and if you go in one direction.
Check out this map visual. They're calling it the Pinwheel for a reason. Look at how those 5 districts spiral out from the blue center of Northern Virginia into the rural red areas. This isn't accidental geography, it's surgical precision. The reporter mentions being in the middle of a district where you can cross into 2 others just by walking a mile or 2. That's the surgical part of gerrymandering. By slicing the map this way, they can effectively neutralize thousands of rural votes by diluting them into these long, thin slivers attached to deep blue urban hubs. It's visually stunning how blatant it is when you see it on a screen like this. This is why the local populations feel like they don't understand each other anymore. They're being mashed together into districts that make 0 sense on the ground, but perfect sense on a political strategist's spreadsheet. It's the ultimate checkmate move that bypasses actual campaigning in favor of just redrawing the finish line until you've already won.
Brian Cannon helped create Virginia's current independent system to draw nonpartisan maps and opposes this redistricting.
It would be the worst gerrymander Virginia's ever seen, and we've seen a good deal of them. And as a Democrat, I'm telling my Democratic friends, we really don't need to cheat to win. We don't need to burn this down.
It's not every day you see a strategist call out his own team for burning the house down. This guy created the original nonpartisan system, and he's clearly horrified. When he says, "We don't need to cheat to win," that's a massive internal fracture being exposed. It's a rare moment of principle over party. He's warning his fellow Democrats that this short-term win of the worst gerrymander Virginia has ever seen is going to have long-term consequences for the party's credibility. You can tell he's genuinely concerned that the independent system he helped build is being shredded just for a temporary edge. It's a heavy statement because it validates everything the critics are saying, but it's coming from inside the room. Usually, these people stick together in public, but the scale of this remapping was apparently too much for even the architects to stomach. It really highlights the divide between the old school fair play types and the new win at any cost faction of the party.
Mr. Speaker, why wouldn't there be any effort to do parity in terms of if they're going to try to kick out Ms. Cherfilus-McCormick, why wouldn't you do something against Mr. Mills?
These are all individual cases. That would be absurd. I mean, that would be...
Aren't you concerned about Mills's conduct then?
Let me answer the question. Yes. We are always concerned when allegations of inappropriate behavior and certainly sexual misconduct are made against members. If you talk to Representative...
Speaker Johnson is walking a very thin tightrope here. The reporters are hammering him on why one member gets pushed out while another stays under investigation. His answer on individual merits and due process is the standard institutional defense. But look at his composure. He's trying to keep the chaos of the McCormick resignation from spilling over into other cases like Corey Mills. He's essentially saying that the ethics committee is its own island, and he won't put his thumb on the scale. It's an interesting look at how the gears of Congress actually grind, or don't grind. He's defending a 2-year process for McCormick as deliberative, which most people on the outside would just call slow. It's a reminder that in D.C., due process can often be used as a shield to buy time. He's trying to project an image of fairness and order while the building is basically on fire behind him. Whether you believe the no parity argument or not, he's playing the role of the calm referee in a very dirty game. This is just the beginning of the fallout. Which side of the two wrongs argument do you land on? Drop a comment below and let's get into it.